Hi, so welcome back. So even though we are on spring break this week, I thought it would be fun to have some art lessons. At the very least for me, art has always been a way to sort of distress and relax and have some fun. So I thought we would learn some techniques that can maybe give us a bit more confidence in our drawing and bring some dimensionality and life into our pictures when we're using crayons. If you are someone who gets inspired to take crayon art more seriously after this video, I'm not saying it's going to be life-changing. I hope you enjoy it, but you might consider reading this book. It's called Amazing Crayon Drawing with Lee Hammond. It is a book that I used to use a lot when I was a TA and was directing art lessons with my 3rd and 4th graders. They seem to really enjoy it, so I thought I would just mention it. It's also a resource that I've been using when planning out these lessons for this week. So again, just thought I would mention it. Trixie, are you okay? Sorry, my dog's in the background. This is the only place where it's far enough away from the baby as he's napping. Okay, so the first technique we're going to use is called layering. And I'm going to just put that on the top of where I'm going to be practicing, just so you have a reference for what we are doing if you're following along. So with layering, as the name implies, all you have to do is pick a color, you press it down on the paper, then you pick another color, you press that one on top, and then you pick another color and another color if you want, and you, as the name implies, just put one on top of the other. Now, when I'm practicing this technique, I'm going to actually put one color on top of the other softly, just because the next technique that I'm going to show you is going to be called something else, and that requires a bit more pressure. So, since I'm just practicing, I'm not focusing on drawing a picture yet. I'm just focusing on practicing the technique, just to get used to what each technique feels like, and also kind of get an idea of what it looks like. So I'm going to lightly put this yellow on paper, and I'm just making a sort of rectangle shape just because it comes natural to me. Especially when you're moving your crayon, you tend to kind of go up and down, up and down. So a sort of rectangle shape to practice this technique with makes a lot of sense. So there we go. I lightly put it on paper. Now I'm going to put this orange right on top. And I'm also thinking it would be an interesting idea to practice as I'm making this layering technique, to go for also an ombre effect as I move towards this way. And an ombre effect pretty much means that you go from one color to another in a very slow transition, so it doesn't have a sharp line in the middle or a sharp edge where you see the differences in the colors. Think of maybe a sunset where the colors are not just in bars on the sky, they're sort of mixed together. Okay. So let's see it. To go for an ombre effect, I'm going to put a little bit more pressure on the left, and as I move towards the right, decrease the pressure until I'm almost putting no pressure at all and you mostly see just yellow. Hopefully that's picking up on paper. And now I'm going to go with my next color, and again put more pressure on the left, and as I'm moving to the right, apply less pressure until I almost am applying no pressure at all and you mostly see just yellow. And then the last color I'm going to layer on top is this violet red. So again, more pressure on the left, and as I move to the right, less pressure until I have almost no pressure and then mostly see just yellow. So there you go. That's a layering and ombre effect together. Now we're going to practice almost the exact same technique with the exact same colors, but apply more pressure. And when we do, we're going to have, instead of just a layering effect, burnished effect. And that simply means that the color is really shiny. It has a sort of very how would you say, not metallic effect, but it is very reflective, because since crayon is made of wax, if you can see that sort of gloss on it, when you put it on paper with a lot of pressure, you also tend to see that being picked up on paper. So let's practice that. So get a lot more pressure. You can also see that intensity of the color is a lot brighter. Same colors, same sequence, and I'm also going with an ombre effect as well. So again, more pressure, slightly less pressure, and then when you get to the right, almost no pressure at all, so you mostly just see yellow. And you can see it's the exact same colors. The only difference is on the left I applied less pressure, and on the right I'm really pressing down where you can see some shadings of the color actually. And again, my goal is just to create a more glossy effect. So I used the yellow and the orange. Now I'm going to apply the red. Again, really press down. A little bit less pressure. And then almost no pressure at all to where you mostly just see the yellow. And then the last color I used on this side was this violet red. So get a lot of pressure, slightly less pressure, until you almost just see that yellow. There you go. So we have a layering effect where you apply really, really light pressure, and a burnished effect where you apply a lot of pressure, where you see crayon shavings from how much pressure you're putting on your crayon. And as you can see, there's almost no gloss or sheen to it, and on the right one where you burnished, there is a lot of shine to it. Okay. And then the last technique we're gonna use is called the scratching technique. But for this, we have to get our space ready so you can see the real effects of it. So all I'm going to do is do a sort of rectangle bar, just like what I did here. But I'm going to apply the same pressure throughout the bar. I think I'm going to do a really, really burnish technique when I do that. So thumbs up if you're ready. Great. So for the scratching technique, you're going to need something with a sharp edge, and it doesn't have to be what I'm using. I'm just using what's on hand because my husband's work area is on the left and he likes to work with tools, so I have actually a screw that I'm going to be using. See how it has that sharp edge, but you can use a paper clip, you can use like a bobby pin. It's just you want something with a sharp edge when you're doing scratching. So when you do it, just as the name implies, you just scratch away. You see that? And what you do with the scratching technique is that you still want a lot of the top color showing off, but you want the bottom color that you put first to also shine through. And it's very useful when adding small details to a picture. So there you go. Those are 3 techniques that we're going to be using in our next lesson when coloring a picture with crayon. So we have layering, burnishing actually, and scratching. Okay, can't wait for you to join me when we're using all these techniques together for our picture. Okay, bye-bye.